Rev Circle friends, back with you, Marcus here, and I want to talk about a subject that is sticky, one that just might even get your blood pressure going up as we discuss it, and that is the idea of discussing cost and price on our website. Something, if you have looked at some of our previous lessons, we have already discussed and talked about, but I want to lean into it even more in this video because this is something your sales team needs, your marketing team needs, certainly your customer needs. And so let's analyze it for a minute. I had an organization that I was working with recently say to me, "But Marcus, you don't understand. Our pricing is complex." Now, if your pricing is complex, is that necessarily a good thing in and of itself? In other words, do we want our customers to say, yeah, their pricing is so complex? No, we don't want them to say that. We want our customers, our buyers, to say, you know what? Yeah, what they sell is complex, but the pricing itself, I can certainly understand. Because we know confusion leads to friction and inactivity. They'll stop. They won't move. And so the first thing we have to say when we like to say to the world, hey, we have a complex pricing model, there's no way we can talk about it online, we have to recognize that it's not healthy if the buyer believes we have a complex pricing model. Now, let's move past that for a second. Whenever I have met with an organization and they say, it's complex, Marcus, it's very, very bespoke, it's a very customized solution, every job is different. Now is when we start to have the conversation, and this is important that you have it between your sales and marketing team. We start to have the conversation on, okay, so let's really lean into this. What are all the factors that make it complex? And you just brainstorm those out. You see, in most industries, you'll find there's certain patterns. Sometimes pricing works on a very structural level. So depending on a particular structure of a deal, that's going to affect the pricing of the deal. Sometimes it's a tiered system within the industry. Sometimes it's a good, better, best model. Sometimes it's straight customized, but there's clear factors that will dictate that customization. And so what we have to learn how to do is we have to explain those in a very clear way online so that fundamentally we're teaching about the marketplace. One of the things that we get caught up on, especially in the B2B space, especially for services, if we're SaaS, we think to ourselves, pricing means we have to answer the question. No, what the discussion of pricing really means is we have to teach the world about the marketplace and what drives cost and all the factors that dictate cost. So what drives cost up, down? What drives cost up? What drives cost down in the industry for that product, for that service? Then we talk about why are some companies more expensive? Why are some companies less expensive? Now, this is something that your sales team has done before. They've explained, they've had to justify why we're more expensive. They've had to maybe justify why we're less expensive. They've had to justify why something has increased in price versus why it is not as expensive. Now, what's sad is lots of times, the first time a customer, a prospect, is explained why something costs what it costs is when they ask the salesperson, now is that good or bad? Well, based on all the studies, and we know the fact that today's buyer is on average 70, 80% through the buying, that B2B buying cycle before they engage a salesperson, oftentimes they were asking that question much earlier, weren't getting an answer online, and so therefore they push back. They say, I don't feel like I have a clear sense for things. As you've heard in previous lessons, we're now leaning into this seller-free economy, and more buyers are saying, I don't want to work with a salesperson. But again, what they're really saying is, I don't want to work with someone until I'm good and ready. So in order to be good and ready, one of the main components to this is they've got to start to understand the pricing model within the industry. And once you've explained the industry very well in those four main elements that I discussed, Now you can start to talk about more in terms of how your company works and what they can expect to find. If you want to give pricing ranges, fine. Give pricing ranges. If you don't want to give any pricing ranges, fine, don't give any pricing ranges. I can tell you though, that with the hundreds of B2B organizations that I've worked with, when they give pricing ranges, after they've explained these things, they built the value in such a way that now it's clear as to the why behind the range, and that is more than the majority of their competitors. And this is something that when it's done the right way, you've done this through text, you've done this through video, now your sales team can integrate this type of content into the sales process early. So if they're going to have a demo, if they're going to meet with the prospect soon and have that first or second sales call, or if they're trying to convince other people on the team why something costs what it costs without being able to reach some of those decision makers, a great piece of content like this that explains the complexities of pricing now can help them see, okay, that's what we're really talking about here. The year's 2022, folks. We don't like to be in the dark. We want to be well informed. This is so true for the B2B educated buyer of today. They're more educated than they've ever been. They're vetting us more than they ever have. And that's why we've got to take what is complex and make it clear, make it simple. And oh, by the way, in the process of doing this and really putting it out there, you will now find that you will explain it better, your value proposition as a company. It's a win-win across the board. And that, my friends, is how we overcome this huge issue of we have a very complex pricing model.